No problem.
It's normally. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is well and safe. Welcome to our pre-match press conference for Leicester City this weekend. As usual, if you do want to ask a question, please raise your hand. After this, we'll do a separates with the written media, which is embargoed until 10:30 tonight. A reminder, we'd ask no streaming live of press conferences and no social media posting until afterwards. As always, we'll start with Sky. So Gary Cottrell, I'm just unmuting you now.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Jose. Could we get the latest team news, please, particularly Gareth Bale?
It's fine. Trained yesterday with the team, trained today with the team. It looks okay. So if tomorrow he does it normally like he did in the past 2 days, it's fine.
And any other updates off the back of Wednesday's game, injury-wise?
No injuries. Tangang is out, of course. And Lamela trained, I cannot say 100% with the team, but it was the first day where he did a couple of exercises with us. So coming to the end of his injury, but of course not ready to play, not even very close to play.
Good week, another good week for Sonny. He won the Puskas Award.
It's the kind of situation where there is no other choice. Of course, amazing goals were scored everywhere in the world. But a goal like that, I believe that everyone that was in the stadium at that time understood immediately that we had the privilege to be live in loco with the goal of the season. There are things that are too obvious, and the goal was absolutely incredible.
Did the headlines surrounding you and Jurgen at the end of the game at Anfield take away from how magnificent your performance was? The fact that you dominated the game really in terms of the Opta stats.
So what's the question, Gary?
Did you get the credit as a team for that performance against the champions, do you think, in the light of all the other headlines that were created?
I don't know. I don't read much, to be honest. I even don't read. Of course, I had some information that always arrive, but I didn't follow in a way where I can tell you. I know the way we performed. I also know the final result, which in the end is the most important thing. And what else? It's finished.
Just finally from me, Steven Bergwijn played very well. To get into that position, to have such a great chance, shows that he played well. There's been some fairly vitriolic abuse in his direction on social media. I just wondered what can be done about that, really.
I don't know what can I do apart of the player knowing that in this club we are all together. I know that in some clubs with some people is the culture of they lost, we drew, and I won. In here, no. In here we lost, we win, and we drew all together. So he has us, and we have him, and basically it's this. So in here, we don't feel any individualized critic. We never feel it that way. We always feel that it's always about us. So no problem.
Okay, George Cummings from BBC.
Thanks, Simon. Hello, Jose. Jose, can I just ask you a general one about Jamie Vardy and the career he's had, and how dangerous is he as a player on Sunday?
It's so dangerous that a team where he plays, and that doesn't matter if it is with Claudio Ranieri or with Brandon or with other coaches that Leicester has. The team never forgets the qualities that specific player has. I have to say that is incredible, and I just feel sorry for him in the sense of he arrived in the Premier League too late. He should arrive a few years before, and his career would be even longer and with more goals and with more history at the national team too. He's a fantastic player. If I was a defender, I wouldn't be happy to play against him because, of course, he's very dangerous.
Do you think, in a way, I know you've got two great strikers now, but would you like to work with him at some point in your managerial career?
He's a player that is the kind of player that I believe would be important in every team. Of course, a team with a different striker than he is, of course, would need to readapt many of the things. But and of course, we have the best striker in England. But Vardy, I think, is a player that would be important in any club.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go to Sam Ashew now. Sam from Premier League.
Hi, Josie. Good to see you. Brendan Rodgers, of course, a man you know very well. I just wondered if you could give us an insight into how impressed you've been with how he's been doing this season once again.
I'm not impressed. I know how good he is. When I met him as a young coach in the academy and coming to join us in the first team and sharing with us many moments, I understood that he was a young guy with a great future. So anything that he's doing in his career is not a surprise for me. Not at all. I think he's very talented. He was and probably still is a guy that likes to study, that likes to learn, that likes to improve. He's creative. He knows what he wants. He's a very good coach, period. Very, very good coach. So it's not a surprise for me.
Dele Alli has made a couple of recent appearances. How impressed have you been with his attitude, and what has he got to do to try and get back in that starting 11?
He's working hard in training, as everybody else does. We train hard. We train hard every day. It's just a pity that we cannot do it with the whole group, because when you play so many matches, the people that plays, the people that doesn't play, that play less minutes than others, the training become almost individualized or in small groups. So the group session as a whole is very, very difficult to happen with so many matches. But we train hard. The group trains hard. It's a pleasure for us to work with them.
Lovely. I'm going to finish with Jonathan Ville, Ali Golden, Dan Kilpatrick. We'll start with Jonathan.
Hi, Jose. Just going back to Stephen Bergwijn, have you spoken to him about the sort of abuse he's received? And also, how impressed are you with the way that he's brought into your sort of your ethics and work, working so hard for the team?
He's one of my boys, period. And as I was saying before, there is no point for me to individualize. He's a good professional. He works hard for the team. He gives everything he can. And that's it.
Okay, sorry, I'm going to go to Ian Abrahams next. Moose, if you want to unmute.
Thanks, Simon. Jose, can I ask you a couple of things, first of all, about substitutes? This week, the Premier League voted to keep it at 3 and not have 5. But from next month, there will be concussion substitutes. Can you just give us your views on those.
I accept what I have. They decide, and I accept. If you ask me if I'm happy with the change from 7 to 9, I have to say yes, because gives a coach more options. You will cover almost every position or every position. There is not the situation of you have on the bench one defender, and if you have problems, that defender has to play right back, center back, or left back. I think in this moment everyone can have a center back, can have a full back, can have two midfielders, can have 2 or 3 attackers. In this moment you have more people on the bench, which is good for the group as a group, for the players individually, for the club, because the club is paying for players sometimes to even to travel and to sit on the director's box or in the stands without being named on the bench. It's good for football, for the quality of the game, because again, you don't need to make these sometimes adaptations of playing some guy in a position that is not his position, because you don't have enough guys on the bench. So I think is welcomed. Doesn't give any advantage to the teams, let's say, with more quality on the bench. Doesn't give any advantage, because it's not about the quality, it's about positions and about covering. So I think it's good for everyone. Probably a part of a couple not happy. I would say that everyone would be happy with that change.
And you've spoken about Brendan, who you knew at Chelsea. Is it your most famous win over him was obviously when you stopped Liverpool winning the title a few years ago at Chelsea. Is it harder when you take on a manager who you know so well and who you like, rather than, say, a manager who either you don't know so well or maybe you don't like?
No. Honestly, after the game, when I play against my friends, after the game, when I win or my team wins, of course I'm happy. Of course I'm very happy. But there is a space for feeling sorry for your friends. And the opposite, I believe it is exactly the same. So, for example, when with Manchester United, we beat Middlesbrough, where my brother Karanka was in the other side. I was very happy. I jumped. We scored in the last minute. I was sorry for my brother. When Ancelotti have Everton, they won against us. I believe that Carlo was super happy, but I also believe that inside of him was a little bit of a space of, I'm sorry for Jose. So I think this happens, not before the game, not during the game, but after the game. I believe that between people that they have strong connections, I believe there is that little space of I think you understand what I mean about that. No friends during the game, but friends after the game. So there is space for these feelings.
Okay, Ali Golden then finished with Dan. Ali.
Hello, Jose. I was wondering if I can ask you about Jedson Fernandez. Obviously, we're getting up to about a year now in his loan deal. I just wondered if you could kind of give me your take on why it maybe hasn't gone exactly the way he wanted, and also whether he'll remain at the club next month.
If he remains at the club from January, I cannot answer you. I truly believe that we have to respect the player and Benfica. The player because he deserves all our respect and Benfica, because as a friend club, also deserves our respect. So what they decide is fundamental, and what they decide will prevail. The situation is sad because he was out of the Europa League list. And by being out of the Europa League list, reduce immediately a chance of 9 matches that we already played in the Europa League, where we had 5 substitutions, where we rotate the players a lot, where we can bring to the bench 12 players. To be out of these 9 matches, I believe that breaks confidence levels, breaks even dynamics and routines, and was very, very bad for him. A part of that, then you go to the Premier League where he can play, and by having on the Premier League only until now 6 guys on the bench plus the keeper, I think it's normal you go for players with more routine, with more match fitness. So these 6 months become really, really bad for us and for him. And in the top of it is a kid that is incredible, what I'm going to say. But since he arrived, he didn't miss one single minute of one training session. So he becomes, even in low levels of happiness and motivation, he is managing to be a very good kid professional. So hopefully better days will come for him, and they will come for sure, with us or without us, but better days will come for sure.
Okay, finish with Dan Kilpatrick, then we'll go on to the written section. Dan?
Hi, Jose. I just wondered if you'd seen Jan Vertonghen's comments this week about playing last season with concussion symptoms and what you made of them.
Well, you have a concussion or you don't have a concussion. And if you have a concussion, you have concussion symptoms. You cannot play football, you cannot train. We have a medical department that does the job very, very, very carefully. Of course, what happened to Jan, I was not here. When I arrived was, let's say, long time after that situation. So I don't have much more to say about it.
Okay. Move on to the written section now.